Alright, good day everybody. This is Trivy, and I'm going to be showing you some Entropy 02 demo and giving you some insight on the way. So, this new intro was made because we all sort of thought it'd be a good idea to have a team name, seeing as we've all worked on this, and hence Bread Men was born rather than Bread Man's Maps, which seemed more appropriate at the time. So apologies in advance. You might hear my keyboard and mouse through this. That's just because of how I have everything set up. I'm in a very small space, so I just have to have the microphone on my desk. So for those of you who are watching this that may not know, I am part of the Entropy 02 team. I do the voice for Bad Cop and a bunch of other characters, and I also do the audio engineering on those characters as well, so the vocoding effects and whatnot are done by myself. I also do a little bit of mapping in the way of lighting, so the maps aren't in this demo, but there are certain maps that will be in the full game that I have lit, because I've looked at it and thought, that could be done better, or that could look more pretty. So I have lit some of the maps. But anyway, I will jump right into it. Just to show you what I'm running on, I'm going to run the highest difficulty. Everything's maxed out on the settings and whatnot. So let's just jump right into it. Now I may talk over some dialogue every now and then. There are subtitles, but sometimes, like this for instance, this is the first thing I think I officially recorded for Breadman for the mod. So I recorded this dialogue. Ooh, I can't even remember when I recorded it. It was the first thing I ever recorded when I came onto the project, I'm sure. It would have been a year, maybe a year and a half ago. Has it really been that long? I don't know. It's a bit crazy. So yeah, this is a very old recording now. So unlike the first game, there isn't like a prologue mission before the title shows up. You just have that speech and then you get the title right there. Whether we do some sort of training mission, I don't know. That's still up for discussion, because there are quite a few mechanics that we've introduced in Entropy 02 that are not really present in regular Half-Life 2, and it'd be good to sort of train the player on those sort of features like squad combat and the APC. So as you might notice, this pistol is very different. So you play as one of these guys, and in Half-Life 2 they don't really carry a melee weapon. If they get close, they bash you. But it would be way too much work to create a melee animation for every weapon. So instead, we came up with this idea of this prototype modified pistol, which regenerates ammo over time. You can even charge it up with the second mouse button, and as you can see, it recharges. So this in turn acts as your melee weapon, whilst giving you a nice sort of cool looking thing to look at. Now this next briefing area is definitely not going to be the one that's going to be in the full game. We sort of ran out of time, because this is another thing that I recorded very early as well, this whole briefing sequence with a Combine Elite. But then sort of quite much later on, we kind of had a discussion and we thought it'd make much more sense to put an advisor in there to brief you, because it fits in with the ending of Entropy 01, and it sort of connects the two together. And advisors are just more cool anyway. I also want to relight this room because it's a little too bright for my tastes. So I'm going to suggest whether I can relight it or not, make it look a bit more moody, you know. We also want to give players more to sort of look at. whilst this briefing plays out, because it's quite long. And the advisor version is even longer because of the way it speaks. It's quite slow. So we don't want to bore players too much with this briefing, because the only thing you can do at the moment is sort of walk around the area you've already been in. There's nothing to really interact with. And we understand that can be quite frustrating. But we kind of want to follow the sort of design theory that went behind the cinematic areas, if you want to call it that, in Half-Life 2. So, you know, Kleiner's lab, that sort of thing. Even though it's just a bunch of people standing around and talking, there's plenty of stuff to sort of look at and fiddle with whilst they do that, so you're not, you know, just standing there looking at their mouths flapping, or in this case, a lack of mouth flapping. So hopefully we'll jazz up this area a lot more for the final release. Now here's a little thing that you might not have noticed on your own playthroughs if you've already played through the demo, so I won't say anything, but watch this. Ooh, what's that all about, eh? Mystery. So this bit in the elevator is specifically designed to try and train the player about these antline holes. So there's nothing else to look at other than this door, and of course you just watch that whole sequence play out. So hopefully you're thinking, oh okay, you throw a grenade in there and it blows up the hole, and lo and behold, what's the first thing you come across? A crate of grenades and a hole. And here's another neat little detail. Say if I don't blow that up and I go over here now. Oh, okay. So he will only do that. Oh fuck. He will only do that if you haven't blown up the hole. And those of you who have played Entropy 01 might recognize this area here. Yeah. So in some people's playthroughs, I noticed that they didn't take this guy along with them, even though we have HUD hints on the side that sort of tell you how to add him to your squad and command him and stuff like that. Because people aren't used to being able to command Combine soldiers around, or you know, the Half-Life 2 squad mechanics were only in like the Street War levels and stuff, and people might have forgotten about this whole system. I mean, look, there's even a little thing that shows on the ground where you're commanding him to move, and if you double tap C, it brings it back to him. So this is another reason why I'm sort of thinking a little simulated training thing would be good, like an optional training course maybe. He totally missed that hole. What a disappointment. Just to sort of teach players that this stuff does exist, and it's a primary part of the gameplay, really. I mean, of course, you don't have to take people along with you. You know, you're not going to break the game if you never take them with you and you just leave them here. But it might make the game more difficult. And there's also dynamic interactions. Ow, that was dumb. There are dynamic interactions that he has with the... Oh, did I throw... sorry, yeah, there's dynamic interactions that you have with the soldiers. So Bad Cop will say things that he might not say otherwise if he doesn't have a soldier with him. And look, you can even change this monitor to look at some cool scenes. Very nice. This area has actually changed a fair bit since its inception, so this room is a bit different now. You used to get the AR2 in here, but we thought, let's give people an incentive to play around with the pulse pistol a little bit more. And we've, you know, it's changed a bit. That monitor wasn't there before, that sort of stuff. Also, you can bring these turrets with you, but I won't bother. There's no point in the demo to bring them, really. In the full thing, there is like a standoff at the end of the chapter with the antlions, and bringing turrets with you can be a massive help, but the demo cuts off before you get there, so there's no point lugging it around, really. Wait, did my guy die? Did my guy die? What? He did! How the hell did he die? What? What? Oh well, whatever. So yeah, and there's a pickup line with the AR2, so if he doesn't die, the first time you pick up the AR2 is actually here. And there's a hole down here. So you might be a little bit confused. Why does it call it the new AR2? It's not new. This is just practically the vanilla AR2 from Half-Life 2. It's because from Bad Cop's point of view, it is the new AR2, because the last time he used an AR2 was the prototype one back in City 10. So this, for him, is the new model. And I say it's not quite vanilla because we've buffed the accuracy. It's much more of a... Look at that. Look at the grouping. And yes, we know about this little line here. I think I've had this in my own maps. I think it's just some weird source bug. I'm not sure how to fix it, because it's literally just, that'll be an edge on this, and there's no reason why it should be doing that, but it just does sometimes. I've no clue why. I've no idea how we can fix that. It's just very annoying. Unless we remake the wall, sometimes that fixes it maybe. I don't know. So here's a nice thing to demonstrate with the AI. So in the level, there are like sort of waypoints for them to go to. So say you're hanging around in an area, they will move to these pre-designated sort of hangout points, if you want to call it that, and they can even play like different animations and stuff. They can stack up on walls and all sorts. So if the other guy was in here, he would actually crouch in that corner there. And it just makes the your Combine buddies look a lot more dynamic, and they're actually, you know, they're not just robots bumming around with you to be cannon fodder, they're actually soldiers. So here is one of our first demo transitions. You'll notice that it doesn't fill the screen, and that's because I'm playing at 90 FOV, field of view. Breadman and 1UpD and CW3D, the other, you know, some of the other members of the team, play at 75. I always crank it up to 90. I don't think there's a way to fix it. I think that's just how big the screen effect is. We can't make it any bigger. There's also a little bug here where you can pull out your weapon still. I can't fire it or do anything with it. I can just wiggle it around. So it's not really an issue, but it's just a little thing that we know about. And these demo transitions are just there to sort of give you an idea of what you're skipping through. It's like a little teaser of, you know, it's a demo. Here's what's going to be in between now and the end that you're going to pop out at. So now we're going to be transported to the beginning of Chapter 2. Contact aberration. Aberration. So your dropship pod has crash landed. And now you get to see the MP5K. So this was specifically requested from Entropy 01. So a lot of people are saying, you know, we want to see the MP5K. And so it's been added. I think it's really good. It took quite a bit of tweaking on the programmer's part to sort of hit that sweet spot of, you know, not being too accurate, not being... So the goal is basically, it's sort of like a CQB weapon. It fires in 3-shot bursts, and if you land all 3 shots on the center mass of a regular human enemy, it will drop them. Which I will demonstrate now, hopefully. So I might have hit him in the leg there. So it's definitely one of those weapons where your aim is definitely going to pay off. So you see, I'm just melting them now. And also, like with Entropy 01, headshots are an instant kill. Wow, I'm really getting melted here. This is what happens when you try to talk and play at the same time. Let's go with the pulse rifle. I love the pulse rifle in this. It's just a headshot machine. Absolutely. I mean, you can see their heads. Reload. So yeah, if you hone your aim to always hit headshots, you can just really melt through enemies fast. Now we do know, I believe there is a bug with the door. Oh, here's a good example of the willpower system. Okay, she's picked up a new weapon. But all the human enemies, whether the monster enemies have it as well, I don't think they do, have a willpower stat. So if they're alone, if they're damaged, if they've seen somebody die, that sort of thing affects their willpower stat. And if it drops low enough, they will run away in fear and drop their weapon and like refuse to fight. They can gain their willpower back, and as you saw, they will go and pick up another weapon and continue to fight you. But anyway, there is a bit of a bug with this door. Now, the kicking isn't so much a bug, but I haven't been able to reproduce it yet. Oh, maybe that was it. But yeah, it like tends to replay some of the voice stuff. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so he's already said that, I think. Yeah. So obviously that needs to be fixed. So I've seen a lot of people struggling with this little area here. Now, getting through it is actually quite simple, he says, as he quick saves. Obviously anything that's metal is gonna damage you because it's plugged itself into the electricity, as demonstrated by these head crabs dying. But all you need is 2 pallets. Like this. So that voice is provided by Robo of Lambda Generation. And I thought this theme was very cool. Look at that. Very cool. So now, normally I dig this up, but you can just jump. Okay, I'm good. Don't hit that pipe. Even though, I mean, it is sparking to give you an idea, but it doesn't seem to be directly connected to anything. It is supposed to be, connected to that fence. But hopefully the sparking gives you an idea. Well, and there you go. That's how you get through. I see a lot of people somehow getting over here and then jumping over that. I'm like, dude, just get 2 pallets. It's easy. And yes, Bad Cop can respond dynamically to different types of damage that he receives. So him reacting to that electrical shock wasn't a scripted thing at all. It was, there's a bunch of lines for him to react to getting an electric shock whenever he receives it, and he will play a line randomly. And yep, you can react to how he kills enemies as well. So if he lands a really nice headshot, he'll say stuff. Oh, and now our backup arrives. As you might notice, they have a nice eye glow on them now, like Mod. I think we added eye glow to them before Mod, before we even knew Mod did it. But it just, you know, it's quite toned down. It's not like mega, like, in your face. And yes, now you have slams. There are a couple of ways you can use slams. You can toss them and then explode them like you would like C4. So good for setting traps. You can also place them on a wall. Now, at the moment, there's a little bit of a bug with the slams where sometimes it won't play the placing animation, as you saw there. It just clicked and then it sort of appeared. They're just like that because we ported them from Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, I believe. And they are a little bit janky in that manner. Whether we'll be able to fix it, who knows, hopefully. And then, of course, you can remotely detonate them like that. Or if you press R, you can change it to trip mine mode. I'm going to get these guys out of the way. And place it on there. See, that animation works fine. It's just for the other one. And now you have a little thingy. So let's set them off. Blow up the door. And head in. And then we enter the Matrix. Now for one of my favourite parts of the demo. Is this. That's a reference to the game Blood, if you haven't played it. Breadman's quite a fan of the game and he's like, I really want that in. Yeah, you can see your teammates take cover behind shit. They throw grenades. They react pretty dynamically to stuff. Of course, I always wish it could be better, but you know we can't turn it into Republic Commando. And you can just sort of see how good the MP5K is in these sort of scenarios, clearing out tight rooms and stuff. If you land all your shots. Example of using your pulse pistol to break shit. Ooh, that was a nice line. And yeah, rebels can even try and ambush you, so they can often like hide inside door frames and try to blast you as you go through. Let's bring this roll of mine. Some fleeing rebels and manhacks. So some Combine soldiers can be equipped with manhacks and they will then deploy them. Did he just deploy a manhack and it didn't disappear off his shoulder? It's supposed to disappear off his shoulder. And I'm sure it did before. And here's a nice thing. You can actually burn rebels now and they will react to it. Oh, wow. I don't know why he just shot that. That was kind of cool, though, I guess. Thank you. Another thing that I see people miss a lot in this demo is this little... Did that door just disappear? No, whatever. Is this little thing here. So it's actually a recording here that Robo did. So this will make a lot more sense in the full version of the game, because it's going to go into a transition very soon. So you'll find a bunch of these recordings around the level that we're in, and it will give some insight. Oh, yes, Combine soldiers can now jump. Right, I will be right back. Really quick bathroom break, okay?
We'll find a med kit eventually. Don't worry.
So, this was home.
Yep. Take a look around.
And I'm back. Right, so the turret voice that you heard earlier is a character that we called Willie, or Wilson, and he's voiced by CW3D, one of the members of the team who also does some music and sound design stuff. And Wilson, or Willie, is a companion that you pick up in Chapter 3, that you do need to carry with you through Chapter 3, but then you can either dump him or take him with you, so it's entirely optional whether you want to keep him with you after that chapter. And taking him with you may provide some additional access to areas that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get into. and also provides some additional dialogue. So he also has a dynamic response system. You can warn the player about stuff behind him and that sort of thing. And Bad Cop and Willie will also riff off each other a little bit. And you'll be able to carry him in this APC. We haven't implemented it yet. You can't get Wilson. We skip over Chapter 3 in the demo because it contains some stuff in it that we really want to try and keep secret until the release of the full game, because it's going to be a really, really, really cool thing, and we sort of want people to experience it, you know, fresh when they play it, rather than it sort of being spoiled before they get to play. Now, another thing I noticed watching people's playthroughs is they completely miss out on this APC, which is kind of understandable because this is the second map in Chapter 4, not the first one. The APC is introduced to you in an entirely different way, and it's way more obvious that you're supposed to get in it and drive it. So yes, the APC is drivable, and you get this hunter buddy with you who, full disclosure, we know about his navigation issues, especially on slopes. That's going to be massaged a little bit more for the full release. I'm not sure what we're going to do when it comes to sort of patching the demo, whether we will or not. So I don't want to really comment on anything like that. Obviously, all your feedback's going to be taken into account and implemented. But whether we update the demo, I don't know. It depends. If it's like a really bad crash, then we will, and maybe if we do patch that, we'll include some other stuff as well. But we will see. Now, here's another thing a lot of people miss, is this building right here. You can go into it, and you get some goodies out of it that you wouldn't get otherwise. But first off, get that little person hiding there. So if you don't deal with them and you go upstairs, they will actually ambush you from behind. And if you go up here, ooh, what are these funny looking things? These are Zen relay grenades. And what they do is they open a rift to Zen, suck whatever is within the vicinity into itself, and then it will punt out something random. It could be a creature, it could be items that are just randomly in Zen, and depending on what you suck in, like how much mass you suck into the teleport rift, the sort of bigger a tear, I suppose, it opens to Zen, and therefore bigger and bigger things or more stuff can come through. Now, from feedback that we've received about this whole sort of level, I suppose, is that the APC is pretty lackluster for most people. A lot of people have said they think it's great, but we understand there's still a lot of refining to do on the whole APC thing. Yes, the human error team sort of helped us out with this to make a drivable APC. I didn't mean to get out of it. That's another thing. It might take a little bit too long to get out of it, and people find that a bit frustrating. Maybe the gun's a bit too underpowered and the rockets are underpowered. Maybe the damage mitigation inside the APC isn't enough, especially on high difficulties. You know, this is all stuff that we're looking to remedy. And you can zoom in and shoot now. Oh! But I will show you that you can play through this bit perfectly fine on the highest difficulty in your APC, because a lot of people are like, on the highest difficulty you need to get out your APC. You don't. Fucking hell, they do take a beating, don't they? I wonder if it was changed back to its old values. I don't know, because we did buff. It did originally used to be a lot worse. Like, it would take forever to kill a rebel with this. And we did buff it, and it did feel a lot better. Maybe we need to buff it some more. So there's a gate here blocking your path. And I'm pretty low health now. And you do have night vision in this. A lot of people saying this is a flashlight. It technically is. It's supposed to be night vision. It could be better. That was just my phone going off, excuse me. I am planning on looking at the color correction and post-processing and trying to make a much more night vision-y looking night vision. Like, it won't fall off. Like, the whole screen will just be red rather than having it fall off and stuff like that. So yeah, Bad Cop will comment on if the power's out. And, oh, how do we turn the power on, you might ask? Where could I possibly go? Well, there's some power lines here going over there, so let's go investigate. There's a friendly gunship to survey the area. Now, yeah, the Hunter will very much struggle to follow you up the slope. It doesn't do slopes very well. We know about it. We're gonna handle that, hopefully. Look at those. Look at those shadows. So nice. We also, a few of you have been saying that the spotlight on the APC isn't strong enough. I personally agree. So hopefully we'll get that going better. And oh look, bull squids. But not just any bull squids. Arctic bull squids. Oh yeah, they do a lot of damage. They will fucking yeet you. Now what he tried to do there actually is one of the interesting things about our bull squids is if they get on low enough health, they can actually consume dead enemies to revitalize themselves. So, you know, in a particular area, you might, you know, manage to damage it and it'll manage to get away from you, eat some corpses that are in the area, and then re-engage you with more health. And going back to sort of demo feedback, a lot of people seem to be struggling to, finding this switch. So they explore the area, but they constantly seem to miss this switch here to turn on the power. Hopefully there'll be ways that we can make the player direction a bit better in that regard. But a lot of the time, I do find people like rushing through things. Like, I don't know about you, but I tend to take my time in games and explore areas very thoroughly. Yet in most of the playthroughs that I've watched, people are like just running around, sort of spastically zipping their eyes around and not really looking, you know? So if you go in this room, and here it is. But maybe we can do something to make it a bit clearer. So you might be wondering, if you're a game designer or something, what if the player goes and turns the power on first? You know, will he still comment on the gate? How does he know about the button? Well, there are different lines at play depending on where you go first. So if you turn the power on but you don't know about the gate, he'll say something like, you know, oh, that looks like it powered something on. He won't comment on the gate. So you see, we think about these things. And you can actually flip the APC over. I'm going to try and do it. Because people are like reporting that, oh, you can flip the APC over, you know, fix it. And we did. Flipping the APC is intended. You're supposed to be able to do it. And what will happen is Bad Cop will actually comment on it. In the current demo, he doesn't comment when the APC flips, but he will call in a replacement once you clear out the area. Ah! Yeah, the Hunter has some AI to try and avoid the APC. It's not, you know, foolproof. Oh, come on, flip! Oh, God. You know what? We're going to be here forever with me trying to flip this APC. Just take my word for it. He will order in a new one once you've cleared out the rebels in this outpost. He won't do it before then. And yep, the Hunter can now jump as well. And you can also, as many of you have discovered, move through this entire section without the APC, and Bad Cop will comment on it. So hopefully that gives a clue to the players that yes, you can indeed open the gate if you try and skip it without the APC. Something that I forgot to mention with the MP5K when you first pick it up, I did record a line of him commenting on picking up the MP5K, but we just couldn't get it in the build in time before like the close off that we set ourselves. So in the full game, he will pick it up and he'll comment on the MP5K, because obviously it's a weapon that maybe he's used before in another life. So he will comment on it. And this is a very cool detail. So these guys move in and actually secure the building and take up positions around it. Ooh, did we hear the radio guy message? Oh, here we go. It's just Robo. Has a very distinct voice. Oh. So yeah, these radios will be dotted around in Chapter 4, and you can actually hang around, listen to the message, and Bad Cop will often respond to the guy on the other side of the radio. And you can't take these guys with you. They are in their own squad. Plus, how would they follow you? They can't get into the APC. As cool as it would be to have them all pile into the back of the APC and then get out every time you get out, that would be way too much trouble for what it's worth. This level isn't really designed with squad play in mind. Plus you have, you know, the hunter here anyway. He'll follow you in his own. He's a little bit janky. The navigation's a bit janky, but we'll try and smooth that out. We got some more bull squids. Oh god. Yes, Bad Cop will comment on if you crash your APC. Yeah, we're definitely going to be buffing the APC, I think. I'll be surprised if the others don't agree. Because it is like a tank. It's kind of clunky to move, but that's fine because it's heavy, it's supposed to be. And look at it, you're driving on snow and ice. If we get enough complaints about the handling, we might throw, you know, realism or semi-realism out the window and make it easier to handle, perhaps. But as it is, I think it's okay. It just needs a bit of buffing in some areas. Oh no, another gate. Now these cave systems, Breadman has openly admitted, are a little bit janky. And for the final release, he's gonna sort of spruce them up a bit, make them look a bit nicer. Ooh, mysterious figure. I wonder where he went. Oh, Ghosts.
It's pretty spooky in there.
And look, Boyds. Yeah, Boyds. If you're familiar with Half-Life 1, you'll know what those are. So, we're introducing a lot of sort of Zen fauna out here in the Arctic that you wouldn't have otherwise seen in Half-Life 2. And the idea is, like, out in the Arctic, you don't have the Combine influence. Out here, really, it's just like, you know, just nature, really. So a lot of Zen fauna has sort of managed to thrive here without Combine intervention trying to smack down on it. You see, he got low on health, so he ran to this corpse to try and revitalize himself, or herself. And no, I did not just say that to be inclusive. There is a reason. You can indeed have male and female bull squids, and maybe you'll find out why that's the case. Oh, gotta love dynamic shadows, real-time shadows. Our old friends from Pillar 10. Not exactly Pillar 10. There won't be Pillar 10 vorts, but okay. So here's another example of the hunter being a little bit annoying sometimes. Not as annoying as he used to be. It used to be he would not move at all. And that was infuriating. There's a It's kind of a bug, I suppose, to do with Half-Life 2. If you drive a vehicle through a level transition, it will like double your speed when you come out of it. It's insane. And on to another transition. Now this transition was made by Blixibon. The others are made by Breadman. But Blixie sort of pointed out there's a bit of a skip here. So he thought he'd make a little transition. Which is very cool, I think, by the way. And now we're on into the final level of the demo, which is like a part 2 of chapter 4. So you've got chapter 4, like part 1, and then this is like chapter 4, part 2. In the game, it's listed as 4 and 4A, which follows the naming convention that Half-Life 2 actually follows, because it has a chapter that's sort of split into 2 parts. Ooh, what's gonna happen here? Oh! What are these guys? Holy shit, look at the jumping on that boy. And what do they have? Oh, they have crossbows. Any more? Okay, we're good. And you can indeed. You can indeed pick this up. Now his lines kind of overlapped a little bit there, but I think they sort of majestically melded together. So he comments on picking up the crossbow. Oh! And he also comments on the end of the ambush. And we're going to be seeing some new enemies in this level as well that we have not seen yet. Ooh, what was that? Ooh, there's a friendly neighborhood bull squid munching on a... He straight up just inhaled that guy. Right, we're sort of low on that ammo, so let's just use the MP7, I suppose. Or, actually no, let's use the pistol. Oh, what is this? Ah, Jesus. Oh, God. I got frickin' destroyed. I'm kind of impressed I tried as well. Right, let's try again. I'll make a quick save next time. Quick save, that's a good idea. Right, here we go. Too many crabs, too many crabs. Right, let's get this thing. Ah, fuck! There we go. So this enemy is actually based on a concept that Bread was playing with, Breadman was playing with, oh god, like years ago. Must be years ago now. About this teleporting sort of poison crab. And this is sort of the amalgamation of it. But what is this? Whoa! Look! It's a friggin' zombie Vortigaunt. How's that? Yep. Do you guys recognize these shackles? Where did they come from? Why do these head crabs look different? And why do they have these shackles on? Hint, hint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh. Now, I kind of understand the complaints that the Vortigaunt Zap is overpowered, but personally I find it's just a matter of positioning. If you see a Vortigaunt, put something between them and you, and if they're going to blast you, you just duck out of the way. But I'm thinking perhaps we could slow down the Zap attack a bit, so that it gives players a little more time to get out of the way, because it's a bit fast at the moment. And ooh, why does this Vortigaunt not have shackles? And why does it have a regular old head crab on its head? Yeah. It's all intentional. It's all intentional. It's all in the lore. You just have to think about it. Let's see. Let's use the... Where's my crossbow? Oh, I guess I didn't pick it up because I died. And then I didn't go back and pick it up. Alright. Oh, look who it is! It's our old friends. Oh, holy shit! Ah! Now, one complaint I've heard is that the zombie Vortigaunts and the regular Vortigaunts, there's not enough difference between them. They both sort of act the same, and they kind of look similar. I think I agree. I think we need to change the moveset of the zombie Vortigaunt a bit, to make them way more distinct from these guys. And yes, some of them are wearing antline sort of helmets. They're sort of our Vortigaunt version of the mask rebels, if you want to call them that. Not these guys, the ones that wear the sort of welding masks. And they're more aggressive. They get up in your face a lot more, and they try to smack you. But so the zombie gaunts do that as well. So I'm sort of thinking, is it a bit redundant? You know, it's worth a discussion. And now we're coming to the end of the demo. Hopefully this commentary and playthrough has been very informative and interesting for you, whoever the hell's watching. I'm not exactly paying attention to who might be on the stream. It's kind of cumbersome to sort of check the chat. I have to tab out. Oh, engine failure. Now, funnily enough, if you go through this without the APC, you will still have the engine failure message pop up, but it's like, you know, it's not a big issue, so... And yes, I did that voice as well. I swear I must have done like maybe 50% of the like custom voices in this. Ooh, look at that shit that you haven't seen yet. Now, one thing that's cool to note is we have included the FGDs in the demo build, and if you set up map base, you can run it through the Entropy 02 demo. So you can make your own Entropy 02 demo maps right now if you know how to set it up correctly. I think one of us might be making a guide, maybe after a week. I don't want to give a specific time frame. Maybe after a week. On sort of how to set it up, but you can do it right now if you know how to. If you're familiar with using map base, then all you need to do is run it through the Entropy 02 demo with the FGDs, and you can use everything that you've got here, you know. And yes, you can see the bottom right corner there because I'm running on a high FOV. But yeah, these demo transitions obviously won't be in the full game. They're just there to sort of give you a little bit of context between the skips. And of course, because I'm a good boy, I'll sit through the credits. So yeah, CW3D, he also did, he voiced the Stuckabats. You don't obviously fight them in the demo. But he actually did some vocalizations for the Stuckabats. Yeah, Robo is the radio guy, and then there's me as bad cop and advisors. I'm also the elite soldier that gives you the briefing in the demo, but obviously that changes to an advisor for the full game. I'm in their mapping credit because of the lighting work that I'm doing for Chapter 3 especially. But I haven't actually made any maps from scratch. And yeah, I'm listed there as audio engineering because I do, obviously it takes a lot. It probably takes longer to process the voice acting than it does to actually do the voice acting. Big thanks to Brandy for the cool animations that he's done. It's a shame that he had to leave the team, but that's how it goes. He was gracious enough to allow us to continue to use his animations, which we're very thankful for. And yet I also do most of the trailers and teasers and media stuff. Of course, Breadman makes his own as well. Big thanks to Max Brando for dealing with the headache that is the Entropy Zero Discord. And yeah, thank you to our IRL friends that have tested this. I've certainly had some friends back home that have tested this on my laptop. Not the demo, but the sort of full game as it was whenever I had them test it, the alpha build. And that's it. It should punt us back to the menu eventually. I know it will because I've already played through it. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, you can join our Discord server. I might put a link to that in the description actually once I've sort of finished this. And you can join us there. Make sure to play through the demo, give us some feedback in the relevant channels and whatnot. And that'll do. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time, whenever that is. Probably never. I don't really do these sort of things anymore. I'm too busy. So yeah, bye-bye.